In just a little bit of time, with a gentle swivel of a tassel, things will change.
Despite what some may think, graduation is not just an abrupt end to an experience that started at the age of 6. It is the delicate close of one chapter and the eager beginning of another. Each of us has faced our own battles, whether academic, personal, or social, but we've also celebrated victories, both big and small. We have learned resilience, not by having straight A's or passing the tests, but by grappling with complex problems that don't offer easy answers.
Choose to be who you want to be and dare to embrace that change. In fact, be excited about it.
Maya Angelou said, "We delight in the beauty of the butterfly, but we rarely admit the changes it has gone through to achieve that beauty."
Never forget where you came from. I challenge you to write the next chapters of your hometown. Because absent of you, we are absent the story of Nelson County.
Let us depart from Nelson County High School with our minds wide open to the wonders of the world. It is up to us to shape the future.
As you enter the batter box of life, life will throw you some curveballs along the way. Stand tall and take your swing. Your dreams won't become reality if you aren't willing to take the next step. And now, by the virtue of the power and authority vested in me by the Commonwealth of Virginia, I do hereby declare you graduates of Nelson County High School. Please turn your tassels. Congratulations, class of 2024.
In just a little bit of time, with a
If there's any discussion, we can have that.
I make a motion to approve the agenda.
And I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. So And now we have recognitions and presentations with Dr. Hester and Ms. Choate.
I do want to, before we do that, we seem to have a very,
Oh, yeah.
may have a, just lost my words, like a bee or a yellow jacket kind of buzzing around. So if you are highly allergic, you know, I'm not going to be offended if you step out or run away screaming. But Hunter is prepared with his anti-wasp croc in the sports setting. So I just wanted to let you know that. Or if someone comes flying and smacks Shannon in the head, we're going to say it was a yellow jacket. So, what am I doing?
Recognition.
That's right.
New teachers.
New teacher.
Yes, new teachers. So I need Ms. Choate to come up and help us with that. I know, she came and loaded. She was ready to go. That's right.
All right. Good evening. We were excited to host a reception prior to the school board meeting this evening for our newest staff members for the 24-25 school year. We've been so excited to bring on board these amazing individuals who have committed themselves to our students. Unfortunately, because of scheduling conflicts, some were not able to join us this evening. There were conflicts with coaching, with open houses for their own children, things like grad school, but we're excited for the ones who were able to come this evening, and also just very excited for all the individuals we brought on board this school year and even continuing to hire. So as I introduce our new staff members, if you are in the audience, would you please stand to be recognized? New teacher. Carrie DeFusco, classroom teacher. Paige Miller, classroom teacher. Chelsea Seitz, classroom teacher. Heather Herrick, library media specialist. Reagan Jackson, music teacher. Michael Donegan, art teacher. At Tie River Elementary School, we welcomed Ryan Tyree as a special education teacher. Hannah Brown as a classroom teacher. At Nelson Middle School, Gretchen Morgan as a math teacher. Samantha Vire, special education teacher. Summer White, working at both Nelson Middle School and Nelson County High School as a school counselor for 8th and 9th graders. And then at Nelson County High School, Richard Sharp, teaching math. Teron Watson, health and PE. Along with Bryson, future student of Nelson County Public Schools. Madison Tyree, family and consumer sciences teacher. Bonnie Ramsey, health and PE teacher. Lorinda Massey, Spanish teacher. Robert Meeks, music and band teacher. Kelsey Bryant at both Nelson Middle School and Nelson County High School teaching Spanish. And then on to Sita Mitchelson Delorier, English teacher. And Angela Tibbetts, special education teacher. Division-wide, we welcomed Laura Wolf as a behavior specialist for Nelson County Public Schools. In the maintenance department, George Napier joined our team as a maintenance mechanic too. For instructional assistant, we brought Kelsey Gaines on board as an instructional assistant at Rockfish River Elementary School. Melanie Marshall, special education instructional assistant at Nelson County High School. And Ashley Austin, special education instructional assistant at Nelson County High School. And in the transportation department, we welcomed Hannah Bell to the team as a driver. Thank you all for joining us here this evening, and we appreciate our school board support in helping us be able to bring these wonderful individuals on board to our school division this year.
And I just want to add just what I said at our new teacher orientation is that this is a huge part of what we're working towards and building is bringing in, recruiting and retaining the high quality staff. So we're excited about bringing you guys in. We welcome you very much, and we're excited about having you part of the team. So thank you very much.
Okay, next we have the One Nelson Award recognitions with Dr. Hester.
All right. So the first recognition that I have is our students. So, well, oh, no, I'm lying to you. It's our community. That's fine. Michaela Gentry and Sarah Briley, along with, I think, Mr. Belcher is here as well for Blue Ridge Medical Center. So anyone associated with that, would you like to come up here? Better yet, not if you'd like to. Will you please join me? I'm afraid I might not like to answer if I ask that.
Unfortunately, Sarah was not able to attend because she started feeling ill yesterday afternoon. And unfortunately, I let Kevin know a few minutes ago, Michaela, prior to joining us, had applied for the Peace Corps. And she had not received information until about 2 weeks after the health fair that she had been accepted. So she's leaving for Peru.
Oh my gosh.
So we wish her on the way.
So it kind of goes along with the willingness to volunteer and give her time to her community and elsewhere. So Michaela and Sarah, representing Blue Ridge Medical Center, organized and worked hard to hold this year's Nelson Community Health Fair at the combined campus of NCHS and NMS. These ladies worked tirelessly behind the scenes to make this event a huge success for our community. Over 110 students received free VHSL physicals for the upcoming school year, and dozens others received immunizations necessary for school. We appreciate your support of our students and community, and thank you for your partnership and willingness to give back. So thank you so much, and what I'll do is I'll make sure you get one as well as Sarah, who's not feeling well. And what these are is we talk about the One Nelson mentality, and that's the willingness to do whatever it takes and the necessity of having everyone be a part of it for all of our students and staff to be successful. So it's a One Nelson model. Made with love within Nelson.
Well, thank you very much.
So here you go, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate it. Yes. Oh, and we're going to get a picture real quick with that nice lady over there. Like I said, they may think it's a yellow jacket. Okay, see if I can get this. Yes, this one is what I think it is. All right. So for our student who's being recognized, so I would like Marissa Garrett to come up and join me. So for the first time ever, one of our NCHS FCCLA members, Marissa Garrett, qualified for nationals. It's all capital, by the way. They're not yelling, they're just excited. This was held in Seattle, Washington. Marissa competed in the 2024 National Leadership Conference on July 2nd. She placed 13th out of 45 competitors and received another gold medal. She competed in the Teach or Train competition, where she presented her portfolio that details the 3 lessons that she had planned and taught in Ms. Becky Allen's 3rd grade classroom. Marissa qualified for nationals by placing 2nd and receiving a gold medal at the state level competition. Marissa plans on continuing her education after she graduates to become a teacher. Marissa represented Nelson County Public Schools in the Nelson County Community well. We're going to make sure that we get a picture for Mom, so come over here so we don't block that. Thank you. Get that? And we're going to do that for her. Okay. Thank you so much. Yes, I know. Number 1, I got you. Thank you. All right. So what we like to do is we like to recognize our award winners in a multitude of areas. We just celebrated our community, we celebrated a student, and then also among our staff, we want to celebrate our classified staff and our certified staff. So the next member that we are recognizing is Ms. Jeannie Drumheller for support staff recipients from our transportation and maintenance department. July 16, 2024, a summer camp bus on its way to the Blue Ridge Mountains here in Nelson had broken down in Roseland with approximately 30-plus kids on board. With temperatures nearing 100 degrees that afternoon, a local church opened up their doors for the students, but they needed a way to get them there. Nelson County Emergency Services Coordinator contacted Transportation Supervisor Taylor Ashley to assist with evacuating the kids to the church. With one quick phone call to Jeannie Drumheller, the Transportation and Maintenance Secretary, she was on location and the students were being boarded on an NCPS air-conditioned school bus within 20 minutes. So they were able to transport them over to the church and be able to give them an opportunity to cool down a little bit and stay safe. So we say thank you so much for being able to willing, whether there are students or not, there are Nelson children, and we appreciate the support that you have for that. So thank you very much. Thank you. And here is.
Thank you
very much. Our next recipient is Miss Elizabeth Knight. Ms. Knight is a history and social studies teacher as well as works with BRVGS students at our high school. Elizabeth Knight reflects the One Nelson spirit every day in every way. She's the first person to offer her help when there are things to be done. It could be said that she does not know how to say no. She never hesitates to take on responsibility, especially if it is to support students. Ms. Knight is visible at so many after-school activities and events and is a friendly face who is willing to talk to anyone. She is a positive spirit, full of energy that keeps going and going, kind of like the NCPS Energizer Bunny. She is a tremendous asset to Nelson County High School, students, staff, and Nelson County Public Schools as a whole. There's a little known fact, she's also the individual that helps me out when making these mugs. So, surprise, you get one. So congratulations, thank you very much. All right, thank you so much. Thank you, parents, don't forget your mug.
She has the ones that
I said, so you'll never be able to get one again.
Okay, this is the part of the meeting where I'm supposed to tell everybody that you don't have to suffer any more punishment and you're free to leave if you so choose. If you want to wait around and listen, we're happy to have you. Oh, I'm great. Because that's not what we do. Maybe we'll have to put a note.
We can do that. We'll fix it.
Okay, so next item on the agenda is comments from the public. Do we have anybody signed up to speak? Oh, I'm so sorry. I just skipped 2 or 3 things. Yeah, it was, because you were pointing.
It was my fault.
I'm so sorry.
I'm very.
So it's comments from board members. Mr. Perkins, would you like to start us off?
Well, thanks to all the new employees that just left.
Right.
And looking forward to a great year, and just glad that we survived the storm. What little bit it was, but it was nonetheless threw a monkey wrench in getting going, but it worked out fine.
I too, so excited to get back to school. The grounds looked great. I mean, just when we went over for the, One Nelson Day or whatever it's called, it was just everything looked so sparkly, nice, and the only place that looks better in the whole county is the Nelson Center. Yeah, I'm just such a little bit of a challenge there. Welcome to the new teachers, to the old teachers. So glad that everybody has come back, and we're just it's going to be a great year. I feel it in my bones. And also then One Nelson winners. First thing, like what, 3 days into school, and we've got some really wow winners of the One Nelson Award. They really represent, that spirit here in the county, and love to see that award given out. One day maybe I'll get one of those cups. But in the meantime, wow, thank you. It's water. Thank you.
So, obviously, welcome to all the new teachers and staff. I'm really excited about some of the things that are going on in the school system with new people coming in, and also our returning veteran teachers, because we could not get a school year started without the veteran teachers being there, being willing to come back and do it one more year. And we know you all do this because you love the kids. But I am also excited about this school year. I think it's getting better and better. And we've not hit all of our goals yet, but we're getting there, and definitely making great strides. Really excited too about I know we're going to be talking about this, but the portrait of a graduate. I won't steal the thunder on that, but I'm really excited about that. So we have one Nelson and we have a portrait of a graduate. And I think we're just, we're building to where when students hit our school system and parents bring them to the school system, they can clearly see what the path is and what they can expect to see out of from their kids. Watch yourself.
I see it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, there you go.
There he is. Hi, buddy. Let's go outside.
We're beekeepers. So, but very, very excited about that. Also excited about things coming up. I mean, the year just started. I know, as Mr. Perkins alluded, we had we had the storm. We were supposed to start school on Thursday. I think it was a really wise decision. I do safety where I work, and we were not scrambling, but we were definitely planning. And I think it's always best, if there's any question, to err on the side of caution, and putting the school year beginning off by a couple of days isn't all that big of a deal. And we're looking at Friday right in the face, and everybody seems to have survived well. And I've heard good things about the beginning of the year, and we've got a football scrimmage at home tomorrow. So it's in full stride already. So, but thank you everybody for everything that you do for all of our students. Okay. Next, important dates. August 30th is Green and Gold Day, and September the 2nd, obviously Labor Day, we'll have a Labor Day holiday. September the 11th is Patriot Day. The 12th is our next regular school board meeting, and the 17th is Constitution Day, and the VSBA Legislative Conference starts on September the 19th, and then September the 23rd is a Student Asynchronous Day and Instructional Planning Day. Okay, and there's there's a link for VSBA meetings and conferences in our agenda. So next item is comments from the superintendent.
So we didn't have tons of so I will go ahead and stand up there since I'm next anyway. So sorry about your luck on that one. I want to reiterate, we hit the ground running leading up to the first day of school, or at least even the planned first day of school. We had a significant amount of work being done by our staff being put in, not only by administrators all summer long, but also once returning. We have our new teachers returning on Tuesday, I believe that was July 30th. We'd also had some professional development planned throughout that whole week. And then when our veteran teachers joined us on August 1st, everybody was really excited and working very hard to get ready for the first day of school. As we know, that then got delayed by 2 days due to Debbie. One thing I can tell you, I think this is something we talk about every time when we make a weather call, is that it can be absolutely gorgeous on a certain part of the county or certain sides of town, but then have dangerous weather on another side. So I always just say, I reiterate what everybody says, err on the side of caution, but we talk about how safety is a priority, and we do the best we can at making the decisions that keep everyone, not only our students, but our staff and our community safe. So I appreciate the understanding with that. That was not an easy decision. It was not how I anticipated us starting school, but here we are already, was it 4 days into it, and we're ready to go. That is the one thing, open house, we had tons of people at our open house, and the excitement that we felt that Wednesday evening carried over to when the students and the families were dropping their kids off to the start of school, so it's super exciting. As we talk about safety and priority, we talked about our cell phone policy, communicated with our families and our staff about the reiteration of our cell phone policy. Governor Youngkin came out with Executive Order 33 and talked about how cell phone free instructional environment. Our policies already align with that, so it's really talking with our students and our staff and our families about the implementation of it and making sure that there are zero distractions in the classroom, not only because it creates a disruption to the classroom environment, but there's also mental health concerns that coincide with screen time and also social media exposure. So we are focusing on that. Another safety aspect is weapons detections. As I've communicated out with our families and our staff, we are beginning the process of learning our weapons detectors. We are using Open Gate. We had a run through yesterday at the high school, and I thought it went well for exactly what it was. It was a first time training run through of using it, so it really allowed administrators and us to see how do these work, how can we best design implementation strategies to make it work the best for us and keep our students, staff, and community safe. I appreciate the students were great about it. It was new, it was something different. Mr. Walker was able to send a message out to families the night before letting them know, hey, just as a reminder, we're going to be testing this out. And the kids were very flexible at understanding we're learning it too. And we want to use that as a springboard to be able to plan. So when we do phase in the rollout, it won't happen all at once, but we will do so in a very thoughtful and strategic manner to be as efficient as possible. So I did appreciate the students and staff understanding the purpose of what we were doing and understanding we're learning too. I was able to hold staff advisory meetings this week as well as family community advisory. So just keeping everybody up to speed because we also want to continue our focus on communication with everyone. And so those are, I think we also had golf today maybe? Did golf? Yeah, golf had a competition today. So we truly are in full swing. And I was in talking with Coach Watson, they're doing, out of season workouts. So everybody's got something going on, and we highly encourage all of our students to find something to become involved in, because when you're involved at school, your attendance shows it, your academic performance shows it, and your mental health shows it. So we appreciate that. And those are my comments. All right. But to transition from the general comments, I also want to lead into our pathways to success. A lot of times at the beginning of the school year, we're still closing out some budget items and some federal programs. So ensuring that this is the end of our ESSER 3 grants coming up on September 30. So making sure that our plan is exactly the way that it needs to be, and any adjustments that we need to make, that we've done so to be accepted. So there's a lot taking place through the budget side, and also creating open enrollment opportunities, which I think ends today. So just kind of working with our providers to be able to support our staff. Okay, all righty. There we go, all right. Sorry, I've been on the struggle bus today with technology, so my apologies. We are at the start of the school year, so a great deal of professional learning and professional development has been taking place. As you can see, a lot of those pictures. Bringing in a speaker that really focused on the 5 C's with a portrait of a graduate that took place at convocation, but also provided some support and learning afterwards. And you see the graphic there. Working through ready regions to be able to support and provide different aspects for our students and our staff. Being able to attend federal programs, so it's not just a finance aspect, but writing the grants and being able to support it in what our various title programs go, specifically Title I and Title II, that goes to the instructional side of our division. With the Virginia Literacy Act, there have been some opportunities to be able to participate in grants that help train several of our staff. So that bottom picture you see where we were able to send several administrators and reading specialist staff to be able to go get more exposure to some of the items that are coming through. And Virginia Literacy Act, you'll hear that over and over again. This is the first year of implementation. We have new materials. Well, with new materials needs more training. We have new curriculum. FYI, we have new curriculum, all the core standards coming up. So there's a lot going on and a lot of preparation that is required. So I appreciate Ms. Douglas and everyone a part of the instructional aspects, because it's a very, it's a small but mighty team that does quite a bit of work, and we appreciate that. Human Resources and Communications, continuing to recruit, interview, and hire staff. We have a few more vacancies, but really feel good about the progress that we've made. Hosted new teacher orientation, just welcomed our new staff to a reception prior to this meeting. Ongoing, have you seen the last week and a half or so, we continue with the spotlight on our new hires through our Facebook page, and I'm always so thrilled at the responses that we get from our community welcoming these individuals. I recognized the name that popped on there today of a family member. I was like, oh my gosh, look, so they didn't like any of my pictures, but they liked a lot of everybody else's pictures, so that was kind of fun. But I really appreciate that, because we value the people that we're bringing in to our county and the skill sets and the quality that they're bringing with them. So to be able to celebrate them, but to then have our community accept them and welcome them is very heartwarming, because that's important to be able to be a part of that. Convocation, a lot of work went in, not only through the HR, to be able to celebrate our service years with all of our staff, but also recognize our Teachers of the Year, where Ms. Bethany Grooms was able to provide us with an inspiring message. Also, training new staff in the absence system. So there's a lot of things going on to be able to support what we do throughout the year. Pupil personnel provided teacher PD on especially designed instruction. You'll hear us talk about that quite a bit throughout the year. One of the things that we recognize is we had a really successful school year in the 2023-2024 school year, but we do have some areas of growth that we need to really be able to focus on, and that would be within our special ed population. So that's where the specially designed instruction is going to come in. Also, we had a successful completion of the CSEA audits, which was important. More and more legislation coming down from the state talking about safety procedures that we need to take place, particularly with fentanyl overdoses and other overdoses. So being trained on safety of, I'll screw this pronunciation every time, naloxone, being able to understand how it works, how much do we need, and where do we need to keep it. So our administrators were trained on that at the very end of the summer, so we appreciate that. Also, McKinney-Vento training in Harrisburg, McKinney-Vento federal programs for homeless delineation. For technology, Chromebooks is a big focus at during the summer, and then the distribution of it at the beginning of the school year. So working hard to be able to try to get everything ordered that we need to. We're kind of at that transition period where we have some contracts ending and then other contracts continuing. So it's really trying to disseminate what Chromebooks go where and what do they need to do, and looking to see how do we get more to be able to replace those. So a lot of work goes into that. New firewall replacement taking place, E-rate networking switches, Chromebooks, like we said, the updating of that, division copier update, that we have tentative delivery, that they're coming in. So there's a lot of things taking place to be able to prepare students to be able to have that 21st century learning experience. Maintenance, I talk about a small but a mighty group. Mr. Campbell and his one other team has been working really, really hard throughout the summer. We're pretty excited about the installation of the new hot water storage tank you see there in the upper left, but also as we talk about some of this renovation is the lights that went in to the auditorium. And those of you who were at convocation really saw a difference in the lighting. Working with a new Honeywell technician, this is something that, Honeywell we use as a service provider for a lot of our maintenance aspects. And we're really thrilled that we have a technician coming in that's really, in the short amount of time he's been here, been able to have a huge impact in helping us out. So we greatly appreciate that, particularly when it comes to our HVAC systems and being able to make it a little bit more comfortable. And there's a constant monitoring of it. I've been able to be in Mr. Campbell's office when he's pulling up, and you'll see that middle picture. That's the temperature readings in a specific wing That happens to be reading the specific temperatures at Rockfish, which we know that we've been having some issues for quite a while. So it's a constant monitoring and being able to stay on top of it, and I appreciate that. We also have just working hard to prepare the grounds, as Ms. Claire identified. That's not easy, but I appreciate everyone that's gone out. I talked to Ms. McGarry and her husband, was one of the individuals helping us with this grass, and he was already planning in his head. He's like, I know we're getting ready to go back to school, and it's going to take a lot of work, and maybe I need to get ready to go in sooner. And so I just, the pride that people take in the work in Nelson and of itself, I appreciate that. Our logging project that we've been talking about for a year and a half or 2 years is complete, so I appreciate the hard work that went into that. We did meet with several solar companies through the RFP process. Ms. Claire was on that board, and just working through the different options that we could potentially consider when looking at bringing that here. We also sent out job offers for particular vacancies that were in maintenance crew to be able to build up that team a little bit. What you see on the right is, with Tropical Storm Debbie, we did see some interesting weather patterns and unique rain patterns that found ways, as Les always says, water's lazy, but it found an easy way in over at Rockfish, so we're working on being able to prepare that to address it. But it was certainly the sideways pounding rain that we saw was able to find a way in. So that was something that Friday, a great deal of time was spent trying to make sure that we solidified all of our surfaces to be able to open up in an appropriate manner on the first day of school, which was that Monday. We conducted our annual driver safety meeting on July 29th. So we worked through VACORP, which is our insuring body. Also, Sam Bryant, 2024 NCSH graduate, passed the CDL test upgrade to get his passenger school bus endorsements. So being able to bring from within, be able to kind of create that grow your own. He will be driving for us and subbing and helping with field trips while he attends school at CVCC. Mr. Ashley was able to, he also serves, and this is something, a little known fact, Mr. Ashley, who's our supervisor of transportation, also serves as safety and security representative for the division. So we wanted him to be able to go out to the DCJS school conference in Hampton. Talks a lot about crisis management, incident command and overview, the updated approaches to dealing with things like active shooters and other crisis management strategies. So I appreciate the efforts in doing that and being able to work us closely with integrating the weapons detectors and just adding more layers to the safety aspect. None of these are the be-all, end-all answers to anything, but they are extra layers that we have to continue to keep adding. And it's the same thing I've said everywhere. At the end of the day, our people are our best resource. In many of these instances, people knew what was going to happen or knew that there was an issue. So it's just cultivating that environment of respect and trust and comfort to when you hear something, say something, you see something, say something. Even if something just doesn't feel right, you can't put your finger on it, communicate to people who can do something about it. We say that whether it's central office, me, the principals, and a trusted adult who's immediately involved in the schools. So we appreciate that. We also were invited by the library in Lovingston to join them for preschool story time. So you see the students getting on the buses and really enjoying an opportunity to promote literacy but have some fun with it. So it's a great partnership with our community. Food nutrition, end of the year cleanup. We still served quite a bit through summer school. Summer food services mandatory training took place. We had dairy bits, so every year we get our contracts for dairy. Believe it or not, this is a struggle. It is not easy getting these contracts. We had one bid, so we were able to go through with that. It's not an easy process to where we live to be able to have access to a lot of these products. It's becoming more difficult than I think you would really imagine. We continue with our summer feeding outreach. And we have ongoing issues with some of the units at Rockfish. So again, working with Honeywell to be able to address that. We're looking forward to being able to expand what we can do with scratch and local products. So being a part of a grant will allow us to kind of expand those opportunities. As you see in the middle, strawberries, we try to go local as much as we can. Sometimes we can't go full scratch. It takes more staff and more time than what we have readily available, but we do everything we can to make sure we try to go local and scratch as much as we can. For the summer, Student breakfast meals, 1,167, and student lunch meals, 1,804. So we've kind of started early. We've had 4 days into it, so I can't wait to see what our numbers are in September. And in terms of community engagement events, we had, I'm so thankful for our community to be able to partner with a lot of different groups to collect school supplies. And backpacks, pens, paper binders, things of that nature, and then to be able to give an opportunity for our students to be able to collect that. Ms. Drumheller was recognized for being able to go and get those students out of the heat and take them to the church. Our parents were introduced to the band set with the theme of Elvis at parent night. So it was things like 4 days into band camp. So they had a wonderful time. Our cheerleaders and band welcomed all of our staff at Convocation Day. You see some of the off to the right, you see some of the communications that we've had, trying to really make sure that we're making a connection with our community about different items and events that are taking place. The bottom, you see all those pictures from Open House. It was a great time. We're really pleased with the turnout. Being a part of the Nelson Night Out with the Sheriff's Department and really creating those relationships and that comfort level with our law enforcement and other emergency responders. So that was a very nice evening held on our property, but really spotlighting a lot of the things that the Sheriff's Office and law enforcement do. And then last but not least, first day of school. That's one of our favorite events because everybody's excited and it's the start of a new year. So it was always great to see those smiling faces. One of my favorite parts of the first day of school is to see the little ones walking in with their brand new book bags that are almost bigger than they are. And they're so excited. And to watch the parents and you know, letting their students go off into our hands, and that's a tough day for a lot of the parents. For many of them, that's the first time they're letting their little one go. So we appreciate that trust in us, and we're as excited to have them as we can be. So that is our pathways to success for August. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Very much.
Okay.
Now we are at comments from the public. Do we have anybody sign up to speak? Okay. Well, that was a little.
Not like the good old days.
I know. Okay, next on the agenda we have the consent agenda. And so we have registers for July of 2024, and then the meeting minutes, the second reading for the meeting minutes from the June 13th regular school board meeting. I will need a motion to approve the consent agenda as a whole.
I move that we approve the consent agenda as a whole.
A motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Now we're at items for information. First item is the meeting minutes, the first reading of the meeting minutes for regular school board meeting July 11th, 2024. And so you can read those. Next is information regarding the proposed behavioral support assistant position from Ms. Rachel Rodinger and Ms. Crystal Choate.
If you needed it printed out.
Oh, I've got it right here.
Okay, I know, I just wanted to report that out.
Right, so attached in your board docs is a proposed job description for a behavior support assistant. The behavior support assistant would provide extended classroom support and follow-up for students with and without disabilities who require behavioral support throughout the school day. Some essential duties and responsibilities of this position would include providing direct support to students by teaching and modeling evidence-based interventions and curriculum, coordinating with the behavior specialist and school staff to develop effective intervention plans, and providing interventions to enable students to remain in school and help stabilize in a difficult situation. So we are requesting approval of the position and to the hire of 2 behavior support assistants in lieu of the behavior specialist position that was approved in the 24-25 school budget that we have been unable to fill. These positions would be housed 1 each in the 2 elementary schools. So I'm going to let Rachel Rodinger talk about the needs and why we developed this position.
Absolutely, thanks. So we are beginning in the year with 28 students who are currently receiving supports on a behavior support caseload. And it's really divided pretty evenly, half and half, due to some students transitioning from elementary to secondary. We have 14 students at the secondary level and 13 students at the elementary level. And really what students are needing support with is, at the younger level, really learning developmentally appropriate school behaviors. At the secondary level, a lot of it is navigating social situations, navigating mental health conditions such as anxiety and other factors. Also, helping all students understand and identify with coping with emotions, developing strategies to self-regulate, and really having a behavior support instructional assistant at both elementary schools will further equip our administrators and our teachers with being able to not only develop strategies themselves to support students, but also have that support and manpower in helping all students. One of the biggest pieces of feedback that we've really gotten last year with being able to have 2 behavior specialists was everyone was so thankful and saw an impact and a difference, but everyone still really wanted and desired to have more support and more consistent support instead of sharing that support. So in this model, this would allow for an assistant under the direction of both myself, school administration, and the behavior specialist. It would enable elementary schools to have someone each day, every day, consistently, and then it would allow our behavior specialists to be housed at the middle and high school each day consistently, with opportunities to go to both elementary schools as needed to help guide things. So, questions?
Will there be training opportunities for?
We did build that in, and I believe that contract is longer than a typical IA. Isn't it 5 days long? It's
Yes.
a longer contract
Yes.
to afford for not only training with Laura Wolf, our behavior specialist, but also we could pull JMU TTAC in to provide some training and support.
Well, I'm excited about this. When I was teaching in a school that did this. It was a technical education center, but because they were away from the base schools, they utilized basically teaching assistants that were trained to do this in conflict resolution, and it was a lifesaver for classroom management. It really was. So I'm very much in favor of this.
Any other questions?
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, next we have the capital improvement plan update with Mr. Les Campbell.
All right, we get to talk about the nuts and bolts now. So there's a lot of the projects we've wrapped up, as Dr. Hester talked about, the auditorium lighting.
Looks amazing.
It does. It was very brightened the area up. Few kinks we're working out. I've already reported to Barbara's on, like the aisle lighting and stuff like that. So we're working through some kinks. I think Mr. Kirshner and Mr. Ivor actually was able to get some of the shadowing taken care of on the stage. So we're working through those. HVAC updates. A lot of the large equipment is still scheduled November, December delivery. Chillers, more specific. Still talking. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. As long as it doesn't move like the last one, we'll be in good shape. The hot water tank was installed with not much time to spare. That process did not go as smoothly as we had originally hoped, but we worked through it, worked with Honeywell and got it straight. At one point, I had some pictures. The Honeywell the crane operators kind of left it setting on its back, and so Honeywell was responsible to try to set it up, as you can see up right now. I've got pictures of, they had straps hooked to the front of the bumper of the truck, run out through the door to set this tank up. They've done a really good job, and again, we didn't have much time to spare, but we got hot water back in the building before school started, so I have to commend them for that.
You had 2 extra days, huh?
Exactly. So the pre-construction hazardous material inspection is still ongoing at the school. That's mandatory for us before the construction starts for phase 2 of the renovation. So I've been working with Mr. Joel Loving for that from TJL Environmental Health Consultants from out of Charlottesville. Timmons Group has been there for the last couple of weeks doing some surveying, site work, marking underground utilities and all in preparation to start phase 2, the outside work, the parking lots and things of that nature. The CIP, the Rockfish walk-in refrigerator has been replaced. That is up and running and cooling like it should. Riddleberger Brothers installed that. So Rockfish, the RTU 2 unit has been an issue all summer. We've been fighting that to get it up and running. It's up and running now. Our new Honeywell technician was able to get it running. What I've included here is some pricing that Honeywell has shared, and on that table, the far right-hand side, the numbers are the 2024 budget numbers. And if you look at RTU2 and look across, it's $371,800 to replace that unit. These units are almost 30 years old. The Honeywell technician has fixed some coils. It's a R22 unit, so we had to buy some refrigerant to replace because we had lost some refrigerant out. That was around $3,500 for a 30-pound cylinder.
So expensive.
Yeah. So we and if the total at the bottom is if we was to replace all the equipment, and then underneath there's a little note there. With this equipment, we need to upgrade the controllers. So we upgraded the Tye River in middle school. We chose to, at the time, not to include the Rockfish controllers because we knew we was already dealing with old equipment anyway, and that would have to be upgraded when the new equipment come in. So you can see to add to the total another $200,000 in total if we was to upgrade all of the equipment. In the meantime, go ahead.
I'm sorry to interrupt.
That's fine.
Is that number with a 10% contingency, or is that just the flat quotes?
No, that's the 10%. So
Okay.
this is included. So they actually went in and added the 10%, and then they updated the numbers from the previous couple years ago. We got those numbers.
So do we have to do them all, is what you're saying? We have to do them all, we should do them all, or you're just?
Should, yes. I do think if we choose to pick and choose units, we really need to target RTU2. That's been an issue. It was last cooling season, the cooling season before that. That unit, we replaced last year 3 compressors in that unit. Because of the full service contract, it was Honeywell had to purchase and install them, but thankfully we had the full service for that. But that unit, we put 3 compressors in it. As is my understanding right now, 1 compressor has been disconnected in the unit, so that would be 4 once they replace that compressor. The cabinet itself is starting to fail. I shared some pictures last meeting. The cabinet is actually starting to bow out and fail. So if we were to pick and choose, I would highly recommend starting with RTU2.
Now, the ones with question marks, I mean, I see 2 are 98, so they're 26 years old, and then there's a 93. That 93 is at Rockfish?
Yes, that's the IntelliPack. That's the back unit of Rockfish. It serves the back hallway. Honeywell had put this together for us, age and condition. So they had questions about the age of some of the equipment.
Didn't Rockfish open up like 99?
97, maybe 99.
Yeah. So I'm sure that those dates would fall in line with those question
So
marks.
all the question marks, we can just assume they're all original stuff.
Correct, yeah. Yep.
I will interject. That's a lot. I mean, it's kind of a testament to the machinery and how long it's lasted. But it's also going to test what you put into the maintenance is what you're going to get out on the longevity. And we are about maxed out on what we can do on the maintenance part for these units because of their age. So that is one of those things. If we had to select, it's the RTU2 because it's been giving us the most. But it's kind of like interior lighting, once one light bulb goes out, you have to assume that it's not gonna be long before some of the others.
Yeah.
So, but if 380 is all we got, then the $380,000 needs to go to that one thing. But this has been a struggle. This has not been lost on us. This has been a struggle that we've been fighting for a year and a half. But, you know, I do want to thank the Matt at Honeywell for coming in and being able to identify a lot of the issues and being able to do something about it and working with people to get the parts to take care of this. So it's been no small feat for him, and it's been a constant issue for us that we've had to address that's also occupied a great deal of Mr. Campbell and everybody else's time to try to fix it when Honeywell wasn't here to help out. So I think it's important to note that.
Well, the other thing that I'm looking at is when you have 20 and 40 and 75 ton units, they're multi-compressor units. One compressor goes down, that puts extra strain on the others that are remaining. And like we got 3 new ones in one unit that has 4. We're waiting on the 4th one when those 3 are working overtime to try to make up for what that 4th one should be doing. So, no, I appreciate everything y'all are doing. We're just going to figure out how we can replace all these or what the plan's going to be.
Yeah. And I've added the elevator, as we've talked about that before. It's that elevator at Rockfish has a countdown system that each cart cycle, it counts each cart cycle. And once it gets to I don't know what the magic number is, but we have to call the elevator company out to reset it each time. And sometimes that can take up to a week or two for them to show up, you know, shorthanded like everybody else. But in that meantime, that elevator's down, and just people that need it and students that need it, it's not a good combination.
Les, I know I asked you last time. Is there, I heard you say something about staff, but is there a way they could just, you know, once a week, just, you know, get somebody to come in and just reset it?
Yeah, so I've talked to, there's a new contact that I've that started, we TK Elevators, who has our contract. And I talked to my new contact about a couple weeks ago, and I had proposed to at least once a month come out to reset it, whether it needed it or not, because it's about every month and a half, 2 months. I'm looking for Jody to verify, yeah. To reset it. So I've asked them to price coming out once a month and to reset the counter on the system until we can get in a position where we can replace it.
They can't teach you how to do it.
It's a software that they have, and they bring in a laptop and reset it. Yeah. So, and I've included budget numbers there. He gave those to me a couple weeks ago when I had a conversation with him. And they called it a modernization of that, kind of what we're doing at the high school. But everything in blue there is just, if you want to read over, that's kind of what it consists of, what they do to modernize an elevator.
Where's TK out of there, out of Richmond?
You've got a branch out of, well, several of them. You've got one out of Roanoke, and you've got one out of Richmond. The way ours is set up, we've got three of our schools, Ty River High School, Middle School, come out of the Roanoke branch, services those. The Richmond branch services Rockfish.
Yeah. But the way you've set this up, the 150 sounds like nothing.
Right.
You know what I mean? Compared to the
1.3
HVAC, yeah.
Right. Yeah. So.
Good way to do that.
Any questions?
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate your work.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
Okay, now we have Ms. Kim Douglas with Lead Innovator, Portrait of a Graduate.
I hope you have about 2 hours because I'm excited about this work that we've done.
Yes.
We've been working on this for a very long time, so we're really pleased with where we are in the progress of our Portrait of a Graduate. There's a lot of changes at the state level, new standards for English this year, new math standards. We have our mission, we have our vision, we have our pathways to success that Dr. Hester shares, and we have our comprehensive plan, all aligned to meet with student success. So thinking through that, I know the board's expectations are that we have, expanded opportunities for students, that all starts at the kindergarten level. So what do we do to promote with our students a depth of learning? The state right now has that expectation with the new standards that we have deeper learning that's applied learning, no longer just recall and content knowledge, but how do we apply it? That aligns perfectly with the rollout this year of our Portrait of a Graduate. So what I'd like to do, I want to talk some about our story, our path of how we got here to this year, because this actually started a couple of years ago. In November of 2022, Nelson County Public Schools started to explore the idea of the development of the profile of a graduate and considered two questions. What are the skills necessary for success for all students to become positive and contributing global citizens? And then what does that profile of a graduate look like and mean for our students in Nelson County? For Nelson County Public Schools, that profile looks beyond the recall of those facts and the memorization and high-stakes testing, and it equips students and staff with the knowledge and skills to communicate effectively, think critically, to be creative, to collaborate, and to become positive contributing students and citizens when they graduate. So again, that starts with our kindergartners and goes through our 12th graders. We really are trying to align our work with these goals in mind of what we want our students to become and life-ready, career-ready skills. And we really try to align, even from our school improvement plans, our teacher goals, our classroom instruction, what that looks like. So that's not one more thing that we do, but it's just how we do business and what we do every day in our schools. I brought some lead innovators with me tonight that have worked hard on this project the last couple of years, since 2022. I have Emily Schilling and Jennifer Campbell. They're going to help us share like the story and the path of how we've come to today with this rollout for Portrait of a Graduate. So we'll start with Jennifer.
So I know most of you, and I'm Jennifer Campbell. I'm stationed at both Nelson County Middle School and Nelson County High School right now. And anybody who knows me well knows how much I love Nelson County. I am a Nelson County graduate, so being part of this work was extremely important to me. So when it comes to this, what we have here in this lovely poster, the development and the process of that, so one of the things that people ask, well, what is the Portrait of a Graduate? So basically, the Portrait of a Graduate is, to kind of summarize what Ms. Douglas just said, it outlines the essential knowledge, skills, and students' experiences that attributes that students must attain to be successful in college or the workforce, and really to be life ready. So what does that look like for us and what we do within our classrooms, within our buildings on the daily? So the Board of Education, the Virginia Board of Education, determined that life ready Virginia graduate must have content knowledge, be able to achieve and apply that. They must have workplace skills, which is, and to demonstrate it too. Like not just say, okay, not a teacher saying, well, they're ready to go, but having students have the ability to demonstrate that within our walls. Build connections and value interactions with others as a responsible and responsive citizen. So community engagement and civic responsibility. We have a lot of this happening in our buildings already. And then align knowledge, skills, and personal interest with career opportunities. And I think that this is something that is so important and that we're really seeing not only at the high school level, but at the middle school level, at the elementary level. So it's really just an exciting time. And so we have the Portrait of a Graduate, and then we'll go next into the 5 C's. So the 5 C's and the Portrait of a Graduate work in tandem together. And when people ask me, like, well, what is the difference? That's how I like to describe it. They work together. And the 5 C's provides a framework for school divisions to develop and then implement what we have here for Nelson County and what we're seeing around the state and even the country, really. So these 5 pillars are critical thinking, creative thinking, collaboration, communication, and citizenship. And as a division, we really wanted to emphasize developing these core skill sets, like Ms. Douglas said, starting as early as kindergarten. So when we met together as a team, that's really kind of where we looked at kindergarten and then we looked at high school and we're like, well, A kindergartner is quite different from a third grader, from a fifth grader to an eighth grader, and then on up to a senior. So we really thought about that. And as students progress through those grade levels, the goal is to really provide teachers and students with a framework for success. And this is kind of like the skeleton of that framework. And truly preparing them for college or beyond, whatever they choose to do. So internships, externships, any kind of credentialing that they might need or want as they matriculate through the grade levels.
You see here your North Star for system transformation, and that's what we use this as. And we really needed to use some of these 5 C's to create this portrait of a graduate. We needed to collaborate. It wasn't just one person doing the work. It wasn't central office doing the work. It was our division doing the work in our community, really. So when we look at that, what is our North Star for Nelson? We've established a shared vision with future-ready, deeper learning for every student. And that's what we believe is important for our students. We've identified those skills, the dispositions, and the competencies that students need for success. Again, in this changing world, we can't change everything about the world around us, but we can impact it greatly, and how we work within that world is going to depend on how we apply what we learn as that portrait of a graduate and future citizens work in that changing and complex world. This is the journey tour portrait. I put up some different photos of experiences that we had that led us to this point in time. And part of that journey included work with Valen, so that Virginia Leads Innovation Network. We were involved in that for 3 years. We start with the launch, the second year they launched it, and we worked through innovation and what that looks like and application of that in our schools. So the innovation teams, we started our first year with 5 people on our team, and we expanded, as you can see in the picture to the left, to a team, I believe, of 9 that year, where we actually worked on the portrait of a graduate during that time frame. And we looked into what does this look like, sound like, feel like, and what does it look like in other divisions in Virginia. We worked with our innovation teams, and if you're not aware of what those are, there are 20 people in our school division that work on innovation teams, 5 from each school, and they work on innovation. So we started off with that pre-COVID with deeper learning, instructional technology, career connections. We had personalized learning, and those were all just pieces that we put together to help work with our teams and our staff, where it was your peer working to promote things in your building and help you and coach you and provide resources. So that team actually worked on this work and helped in some of those Valen positions. Then we also reached out for VASCD events. We worked with VASCL and VASCD, and we attended PD that was on the 5 C's and depth of learning. And then we brought the VASC folks into our division to work on that work as well with professional development. Dr. Hester actually brought me to Battelle for Kids, so I learned more about that, and that is actually we work with the Premier National Network, and their focus is how to create that portrait of a graduate. The Valen team, this is just some examples of what we've done. If you look at some of the chart paper, I just did some clips there because it was really important, the brainstorming part of this process, when we looked at what do we need in the collective community. So how do we reach out to our community partners, the businesses in our community? How do we use our student leaders? So the students were involved in this process. We surveyed students. Social media, how do we get the information out of what we're looking for and what does our community want for our students? The common definition needed to be developed. What does this really look like in Nelson County Public Schools? So we used some of that process. The what, look here at the bottom, definitions of profile, examples of those things. We know we couldn't just tell teachers hey, this is what we're gonna do. We wanted everyone's input in every location to give us that development of those areas as 5 C's. And then the process, we also wanted to provide some examples of what this could look like and what other school divisions have occurring in their divisions so that our folks knew what we could attain here in Nelson County. This is Battelle for Kids Network. This is that national nonprofit that really helps empower divisions to reach the students for tomorrow, basically. So how do we work towards getting our kids prepared for the world with that portrait of a graduate work? The important thing about this is that we've attended for a couple of years, and they provide professional learning for our division. We've been members for the last couple of years. They have school site visits that you can attend. I've attended some of those schools in other states. for that purpose, and you can attend virtually as well. So they have physical attendance and virtual attendance. They have tools and resources that you can access that we actually have used some with our administrators in our division. And then professional learning events. And one of those big events that they have is their annual conference, which is the Ed Leader 21. And you actually get to see portrait to practice experiences of what other divisions, not just in the state of Virginia, we do have state of Virginia attendance, but then also across the U.S. This is our finding our why. So one thing that struck me when I went to one of those conferences was the Futures Collab. The Futures Collab was a way to bring to our folks the desire, the need of how this world is changing so rapidly. So what do we do to meet the world where it is? How do our kids, how do we work with our kids to provide that systems change for that shared vision around the community with the hopes and dreams of Nelson County and Nelson County Public Schools? That Futures Collab video is just really short. We had actually Battelle come to Nelson County, lay on the right there. She came to our family night. She did a family night event with us, and she also came to work with our administrators at our administrative retreat last year. And we rolled out the Futures Collab in both of those areas. At the bottom, you see some examples of some surveys. We put out a community survey for some local businesses. We went around Nelson County to deliver those and get the input. And then we also, again, surveyed our students, our staff, our parents, and then a community member. And it's okay, Tammy, if you can't.
Futures Collab is a very engaging, collaborative community discussion about how the world has changed and what that means for every.
We're good, we'll move on. So that you get the gist of that. So that's an application of changing the world and what we do. And I have a video link for you guys to look at if you're interested in that as well. Okay?
I'm looking, it works.
Okay, 5Cs PD. This is again with VASCD and different folks that we've brought in. We had training for admin, for principals, but we also had training for our teachers. Our message didn't stop just in a letter or an email or a survey, but our message continues and has continued the last couple of years. Dr. Hester at Convocation, we started rolling out Portrait of a Graduate and what that looked like and felt like in our division. Our speaker for Convocation, we had 2 family nights last year that were nurturing critical thinkers and collaborators, how to bring those 5 C's in. And then, of course, in our cafeterias, we've had rollouts on our screens of what the 5 C's means. And there's a survey example again there for family night. And these are portrait resources that were actually developed by our lead innovators. Clarity in definitions and expectations was important. Rubric design, lesson examples, and professional development. And I'm going to have our folks come back up to talk about some of those resources.
So our definitions, I think this to me is the most exciting part of this process, the experience that we had. We went through and we looked through a preponderance of information, so many things, and they basically, the definitions that are on this really nice display here were developed by teachers and administrators. We went to the Valen Conference, we brainstormed it there, and we really mulled over it, worked through it, thought about it, and said, okay, so what does a Nelson County graduate look like? If we wanted to put a definition, if we wanted to make a portrait, quite literally, of what it looks like to be a Nelson County Public Schools graduate, what does that mean? So our essential question was, when we send our students out into the world, what do we want them to know and be able to do in order to be compassionate, communicative, positive representations of their authentic selves, but especially their county, our county. And I think that anybody who has worked here any amount of time, if we grew up here, especially before, I mean, I remember being in Nelson County when there was no stoplight, there was no Food Line, and there was no McDonald's. So looking at that and saying, okay, we are uniquely Nelson, so what does that mean? And in a world where, you know, students are scared to speak, they're used to their phones, they're used to hiding behind, you know, social media and things like that, really that's what we want to bring out and kind of take them back to be proud of themselves and the school system that they come from. So the definitions, and we'll go to the next slide if you don't mind. I'm going to kind of talk about the definitions in conjunction with our rubrics. So the rubrics, I would say, as a team, and Ms. Schilling may or may not agree with me, that was probably the most, where most of our time was spent in the development of this process. So we have our definitions. I don't need to read that to you, but they're really good. We're really proud of them. We're excited about it. But, okay, we have the definitions, but what does that mean? How do we get there? So we worked for a very long time on our rubrics, and our rubrics are created specifically for Nelson County Public Schools by the Lead Innovator team. And basically our goal is to really these will really help guide our instruction and move students from emerging levels to mastery in each area of the 5 C's. And we'll take a very quick glimpse of that in a second. I mean, it is something, if you have time, when you have time, please take a look at it. It is really good stuff. It is specifically aligned, as Douglas mentioned, the new English of Learning standards, the new math standards, and in development of it, looking at, okay, so when we're looking at what is being required of these students in the new standards of learning, how can we align that with what we're doing in Nelson County specifically? So the rubrics are specified for kindergarten through 2nd grade, 3rd through 5th, 6th through 8th, and 9th through 12th. And for me, honestly, the development of 9th through 12th, that was easy. Like, I've got that. But what does it look like before they get to high school? What does it look like when they're in middle school and all of the feelings and all of the things are happening? And then what does it look like for somebody just entering our doors when they're excited and their backpacks are too big for them? So each rubric addresses specific learning goals and expectations, and they provide guidance for teachers as they assess student progress. For students, I think this is the most interesting, important part of what we developed. It provides goals as they matriculate through the grade levels. So kindergarten through 2nd, 3rd through 5th, so on and so forth. And what I love the most about our rubrics is it doesn't stop with grade 12, and you'll notice that as you look through it. So it says 9th through 12th grade and beyond. So ideally, this is something that, because of the rich experience they have within our doors, that they keep that in mind and they carry that with them into adulthood, and as they grow and move on or hopefully return. So I'll just, if we could click on that really quickly, we'll just give you, it's a very broad overview, but you can take, if it doesn't work, that's okay, but it is something that is worth. Oh, okay.
We'll move forward.
Yeah, that's okay, but it's good work. We're proud of it. So please take time to look through it, and I'll turn it over to Ms. Schilling.
And the board members should be able to access that in your information.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, so hi, I'm Emily Schilling, and I'm at Nelson Middle School, and I've been with the county for 20 years. This is my 20th year. And I know. And so we did spend a lot of time on these rubrics, and one thing that we did when we spent the time on the rubrics too is you'll notice that you had, K to 2 and then 3 to 5. We did spend a lot of time trying to decide if we were going to really branch out the differences between secondary schools. We look at middle school as secondary too, and a lot of times when we have seen some of these rubrics, they don't break secondary down into 6 to 8 and then 9 to 12. And we did spend a lot of time on that because we did think that was really important, because there is quite a difference in the way children's develop. So we decided that we were going to create lesson plans for teachers on every one of these 5 C's. And we were going to create these lesson plans for future teachers and for teachers that are already at the school system, to give them an idea of what
the expectation of a good lesson looked like for each one of these 5 C's. And so we have created a lesson plan and a video of that lesson plan so that teachers can watch them and see the lessons. What's really cool about the 5 C's that most people don't realize is that you don't just teach one of these. You can teach all 5 C's in one lesson. And I think that's really hard for teachers to understand. And you'll see that when you're watching one of these videos, which I don't think we're having any luck pulling them up, that they are already demonstrating all of these 5 C's in a lot of circumstances. So we wanted to have something for teachers to see in each of these areas, K through 2, 3 to 5, 6 to 8, 9 to 12, so that they can see what it's like to teach a lesson in that grade level. And what's really cool about these lessons too, and the videos, is it's not just us, the lead innovators, doing these videos. We incorporated people throughout all of the schools. And they're also seeing lessons in math. They're seeing lessons in language arts. They're seeing social studies. And I really wish we could pull one up because there's a really cool one that the high school did. And it's a math video, and most kids, you know, math is not their fave. And they did a video using Barbie dolls, you know? And so they had to take a Barbie doll and try to figure out how they were going to get this Barbie doll with a parachute to be dropped from the bleachers, okay? And see if, you know, they didn't kill Barbie. Make sure that Barbie, you know, Barbie survived, or whose Barbie was going to survive.
They didn't all survive.
No, but the math that they did to go through was just, you know, it was fun to them. It made math relevant to them, and that's what's really important with the 5 C's, and finding that relevancy that they need to learn. You can go to the next one. Huh? Go to high school. It's under critical
thinking, but we don't have to.
We don't have to.
very long.
It's okay. We
Yeah.
can move on a little bit. The next section is about professional development. And professional development is critical for teachers, especially when we're about to embark on making sure that we have these 5 C's in our classrooms. And so what's really cool about the innovation teams is that we've been able to work with each school level and work together to create this. But we also went with our own schools and created what the 5 C's is going to look like just for your school, okay? So we created professional development slides and videos based on the schools themselves for teachers to go watch. And, you know, if they have any questions, they can go back and watch those videos to tell them what these 5 C's are, what are different strategies that you can use to help you in the classroom. So we made it even more integrated. And what's lovely is all of this stuff's digital, so that people can watch these when they need to, and it's there to help them. So it's been a great journey.
This is the portion of our graduate work that we've done. So we began our journey with that shared vision and future ready, and we're sharing that in faculty meetings to start a school year this year. So we're going to be working with schools and rolling this out. We start with convocation. Reimagining learning and teaching in our classrooms. So really the design of our practices, and reflection and collaboration, what we do. Building capacity of our school leadership team. So working with our principals, and we have some professional development this year in that area, and then empowering educators across the division and that deeper learning piece. Developing authentic student engagement and elevating student voice in the classroom, and students are doing the work. You know, they're the ones that are applying what they learned. This is the portrait to practice. So looking through what we've done to get here, we now have to make that impact work for our division. So how does this impact work? Well, again, I mentioned the standards, the pacing development. This summer, we had new pacing guides that we worked on, and in that rollout, we actually embedded those 5 C's, so working through that. The 5 C's isn't a separate entity. It's just how you're teaching and instructing and learning in classrooms. Professional development and implementation in those daily lessons, and the look-fors from administrators to look for that in daily lessons in classrooms. The portrait expectations and school improvement plans, and then data collection and classroom observations with walkthroughs, continued stakeholder input and communication and shared visions. NCPS Spotlight, so that's important. The Ed Leader Portrait to Practice Expo for Ed Leader 21 has invited us to come to be one of the Spotlight schools for the completion of our NCPS Portrait of a Graduate this year. So we'll be one of the school divisions. Yeah, I was excited because I first went to this conference thinking, oh, this is amazing. I can't wait to be able to have that finished product. Now what do we do with it? How do we apply it? But now we'll be the ones that can talk about the process and how we came here throughout the last few years. So that spotlight on Nelson County. But that's not what's so important. It's what we do next in the classrooms. So what we're doing for our students is the important work, and how we apply this. It's not just something we put up on a shelf or a poster on a wall, but it's what we do, live, and breathe. And it's not one more thing. It's just how we do business in Nelson County Public Schools. So I'm excited to see what's to come. And Becky Allen's going to advertise our shirts from our convocation, because she actually has that on the back of her t-shirt this year that we had for distribution. So thank you, Becky.
So one of the things to add, when you work with these 5 C's or Portrait of a Graduate, it's exciting work, and I appreciate the time and the effort that's gone in to get us where we are. It is tough, but and the reason why it's tough is what you're trying to do is you're trying to bring things together to make learning deeper, but also to bring it alive. And this is how our students demonstrate the content that they learn. And these are the skills that it takes to be successful, college, career, military, whatever, but also life. And I think that that's the important part. It's messy work, and the reason why it's messy, they talked and described about how developing rubrics and lessons for each of these levels. So not only just elementary, but K2, 3, 5, because developmentally, they all need something a little bit different, middle school and high school. And I say that because this is, all of our students' starting points are different. And so each one of our students, we've set out what our goal is. So where we look at, it starts at kindergarten, our end product is in 12th grade. So you want to work backwards. And that's not easy, but it's really critical, and it's, like she said, it's not another thing. It is the thing that brings everything alive and makes it meaningful and relevant, where someone might not have common sense, Barbie's in math, clearly they go together. But you took a concept, brought it to life for everyone in that classroom, and it was relevant and meaningful to them. And what's the question we always get? Why do I need to know this? I'll tell you, I'll show you why. And I think that that's really valuable. When you work with this, it's not easy. And how she's describing Ed Leader, and it's an awakening. When you see across the nation, this is the work that's taking place. And you have exposure to all of these different states, all these different localities, and then you look around, and Virginia in and of itself is on the forefront in really helping to lead a lot of this, and then we're a part of that. And that's the exciting piece, is where we are and who we're standing shoulder to shoulder with at these conferences and what we're demonstrating. It's an incredible statement to the work and the effort that so many people have done to get us here, and that's great. But at the end of the day, what are we doing for our kids, and what are we getting them ready for? And that's what excites me the most. This is a great project, and we've talked about it, so I just appreciate the work that's gone into it.
All right, any questions?
Thank you. I just
I
think
can't wait to see the videos. I'll let you know.
I just think it's amazing that when you put this together, when you consider all this, you're not just considering the kids. You have to bring the staff on board, and sometimes as people that are seasoned in what they do, it's not easy to get them to buy into something new, and it's amazing work that y'all done to see how y'all brought staff and everybody on board with getting this rolled out, because I know she talked about it for a long time, and to see it starting to come to fruition is very exciting for me to see.
And it takes a while to get there because you really have to include everyone in the work. And sometimes, at one point we came to a standstill and we needed guidance on how do we roll back some and get more people included so that we could actually get that involvement and have them believe in the work and the drive and the passion and the goals that we have for Nelson County. So it wasn't what Kim wanted or Dr. Hester wanted, it's what everyone all-inclusive wanted for our division.
It's hard to tell adults new ideas.
Well, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I did a professional development before school started with a bunch of the staff, and I brought this up to them in my professional development, and I reiterated to them that you use these daily when you write your lessons and when you do your work. And I think a light bulb came on to a lot of them, like, okay, this isn't as scary as I think it's going to be, because I've already done some of these things, and they left feeling much better about it. They didn't feel like it was something else to be put on top of them. It was, oh, okay, I do these innovative ideas. You're just putting it in a different way to me, and I think that helped.
And I can add to that just by saying that even within like the middle school, for example, teachers worked on the curriculum, which Ms. Douglas referenced, but we have a big project coming up with her and Kate Neal in 7th grade, and the teachers are like, this is perfect, like this aligns, this is what we're doing, the kids are involved, the community's involved, we're all working together. So we're starting to see, to your point, Mr. Perkins, we're starting to see the buy-in, we're starting to see the excitement behind it, and to me that's what has made the entire journey, worth it.
And then you'll get buy-in from the kids, and then it'll just take off.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think I'm next.
Yes, you're next.
Okay, so we're going to wrap up summer learning. So we had some highlights from summer learning, and I'll let Ms. Martin give you that. Why don't you just go to the page first, and then we'll go there. Okay. This is just information on our summer learning program this year. Our theme actually aligned with our Portrait of a Graduate work, so we're looking at career pathways, and the 5 Cs were embedded in that work, and we wanted to explore pathways for students in future career options. So we started at the elementary level, we worked on the middle school and the high school level. So what did that look like and feel like for our kids? We had 303 students involved in summer learning this year. Some of those were duplicates in our Excel program with, I believe, 70-some students in our Excel program. So if you look at our chart here, I had 68 staff involved in those programs. We had 49 high school students participate, and they were primarily participating towards graduation for verified credits or completing their course content and SOLs for Virginia Standards of Learning. When you look at our middle school, we had 23 students attending this summer, and they were working on experiential learning with math, reading, and writing. And they also worked on marketing, coding, cosmetology, horticulture, and cooking classes. So that was part of the work that they did as project-based learning that correlated with those skills in the morning sessions with math and reading. Elementary had foundational skills with reading, writing, math, science, history. We had reading specialists that were involved. We had special education teachers. We had English as a second language students there. And we really had some good progress. We had brief pre and post assessments to just guide the work that the teachers were doing in classrooms with the students to determine what lessons to teach and what they need to do with each of those for differentiated instruction. But we looked at, they studied horticulture at the elementary level. They looked at archaeology and historians to develop their skill set there and decide what they wanted to do at some point in time and maybe learn more about those areas. They looked at Native Americans when they did that and colonial Americans. We had partnerships with Wintergreen Foundation and Charlottesville Free Book Bus. Wintergreen Foundation actually provided a resource teacher for the program this summer. So they paid for a resource teacher to teach, and they paid for books for our students and t-shirts for our students this summer. The Excel Academy was very exciting. In the Excel Academy, you might have seen bicycles go by. You might have been visiting Woodson's Mill, or you might have been Oakland Museum. So entertainment, design, and technology was one of the core areas. Tourism and recreation was a second area, and law and criminal justice. So talk about career exploration. We had drama with Peter Pan. We had visiting hometowns as a tourist. And we had forensic science with crime scene investigation work. We had partners there as well with the high school interns. We had 3 high school interns working in that program. We had Nelson County Sheriff's Department that worked with our students. And we had Maureen Kelly and Becky Howard from Nelson Tourism that worked with students. The Career Academy was another exciting week for our kids. We had colorful experience, babysitter boss, chopped, not rocket science, electrifying electrical circuits, ready, set, grow, and scrub into skills as our students worked in those CTE areas of interest and worked on those pathways. So it really takes lots of humans, and we had a lot of people to thank throughout this summer process, but I specifically want to thank our teachers for the work that they did and being here in the summer when they could have been on vacation or at the poolside, and our students for attending and having a great summer and learning all that they could, and our parents for sending them. We also need to thank transportation and food services, again, that Charlottesville Free Book Bus, Wintergreen Foundation, Nelson Tourism, Charlotte Sheriff's Department, and those 3 high school interns. We're looking forward to next year, and I'm going to show a quick video clip about some of our progress over the summer. Any questions on our summer program?
I have one question.
Okay.
You had 303 kids. What's capacity? Is that it?
So this summer, as long as we have the staff, we allow the students. So as long as we have the teachers in classrooms to support them, then we allow students to attend. We first start with our below-level learners to try to invite them and make sure those seats are filled for the folks that most need it. And then our enrichment programs for our accelerated learners. That's by invite to start. And then as we see seats are empty and we have students that can participate and want to participate, and we've got the teachers to staff it, then we continue to invite or open it up for students to attend.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it is. It's excellent. It's very exciting. Yep. It makes me almost want to go to school.
You can come.
Say that
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, that brings us to the items for action. So we need, do we have any more discussion on the proposed behavioral specialist assistant positions? Any discussion on that? So if no discussion, I'll need a motion to approve those positions.
I make a motion we approve the behavioral specialist positions as presented.
And I'll second it.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. So we need approval to declare a a textbook surplus, excuse me. So I need a motion for that, to declare a textbook surplus.
I move that we declare textbook surplus.
I second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We also need a motion to approve vehicles for sale, for surplus vehicles for sale.
I make a motion we do the surplus vehicles for sale
I second it.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, we also have a field trip request for the NCHS FFA to go to Massachusetts on September the 12th through September the 15th, 2024.
I move that we approve the field trip for the NCHS FFA to go to Massachusetts September 12th through 15th.
I'll second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Also, another field trip request in Nelson Middle School and Nelson County High School FFA to go to Indiana on October 21st to October 26th. And that's the Nationals, right, at Indiana? Okay. So we'll need a motion to approve that field trip.
I move that we approve the field trip to the middle school and high school FFA to go to Indiana for the national convention in October.
I'll second.
Motion and a second, all in favor? Aye. Motion carries.
Yeah,
Now we need a motion for approval of a field trip request for the Blue Ridge Virtual Governor School 9th grade to Washington, D.C. on October the 7th, 2024.
Approved.
I second it.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Now we have a religious exemption request. Obviously, we don't mention who those are, but we need to read through it, and then we need to. I'll need a motion to approve that.
I move we approve that religious exemption request as presented.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. And now, we need a motion to go into closed session, which we're going to have personnel, and that's it, right?
Consultation with legal.
Okay. So, are you reading that one?
Yeah, I can do it. I move that the board go into closed session to discuss and consider the personnel report and other confidential personnel matters as authorized by Virginia Code 2.2-3711A1 for purposes of discussion or consideration of prospective candidates for employment, assignment, appointment, promotion, performance, demotion, salaries, disciplining, or resignation of specific public officers, appointees, or employees of any public body. I also move that we go into closed session to discuss legal matters with possible conversations with counsel as authorized by Section 2.2-3711A8 of the Code of Virginia regarding a specific legal matter or matters requiring the provision of legal advice by such counsel.
Do we have a second? Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We're in closed session.
In just a little bit of time, with a gentle swivel of a tassel, things will change.
Despite what some may think, graduation is not just an abrupt end to an experience that started at the age of 6. It is the delicate close of one chapter and the eager beginning of another. Each of us has faced our own battles, whether academic, personal, or social, but we've also celebrated victories, both big and small. We have learned resilience, not by having straight A's or passing the tests, but by grappling with complex problems that don't offer easy answers.
Choose to be who you want to be and dare to embrace that change, in fact, be excited about it.
Maya Angelou said, "We delight in the beauty of the butterfly, but we rarely admit the changes it has gone through to achieve that beauty."
Never forget where you came from. I challenge you to write the next chapters of your hometown. Because absent of you, we are absent the story of Nelson County.
Let us depart from Nelson County High School with our minds wide open to the wonders of the world. It is up to us to shape the future.
As you enter the batter box of life, life will throw you some curveballs along the way. Stand tall and take your swing. Your dreams won't become reality if you aren't willing to take the next step. And now, by the virtue of the power and authority vested in me by the Commonwealth of Virginia, I do hereby declare you graduates of Nelson County High School. Please turn your tassels. Congratulations, class of 2024.
In just a little bit of time, with a gentle swivel of a tassel, things will change.
Despite what some may think, graduation is not just an abrupt end to an experience that started at the age of